Well, how do you do, Buckaroos? This is Tom the Beer Whisperer, and I'm coming at you with something different today. I have my version of a Manhattan. Um, I will now show you the components. The Crown Royal, my rye is the Crown Royal Northern Harvest rye, 90% rye, 90 proof. So there you go. I decided to try this for the first time. I found it somewhere for about 27 a bottle, so that's pretty reasonable. Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible made it the World Whiskey of the Year. Whether it deserves all that, I don't know. There's a lot of great whiskeys out there, but it certainly is a nice rye, especially for the price. The bitters I'm using, again, this is my spin on this classic cocktail. The bitters I'm using are the Regan's #6 orange bitter. Let me show you. Regan's probably is how it's pronounced. I wanted to try something a little different rather than the standard. I had that angle right, and I had to get up, but now it's all messed up on me again. Darn it, darn, darn it. Anyways, I'm just going to leave it. It's close enough. What I've got in there is 3 ounces of that rye whiskey, to just shy of an ounce of this sweet vermouth, the Martini Sweet Vermouth, and then one cherry. I'm using these Tillin Farms Northwest Fresh maraschino cherries, or pitted, no, yeah, Mary Maraschino pitted cherry with stems. The reason I went with these, there were some even more expensive than this. Well, this wasn't the most inexpensive, but the reason I went with them, because the others, even the more expensive ones, had a lot of dyes, and this one doesn't. It says right there, no red dye, vegan, gluten free, and that's why I went with them. So now that I'm even using my Crown Royal glass here. Having gone through all that, I show you my great big ice cube in there. Typically, when I drink these out, I have it straight up, and typically when I make them at home, I serve them that way as well. But my wife just got me the molds to make these big ice cubes, so I didn't shake this drink. I just mixed it and then used that big ice cube for a chill. For me, the Manhattan is a perfect cold weather cocktail. I'm gonna take a drink, then I'll talk more. Since I've already talked for almost 3 minutes and ain't take a drink yet. Ain't take a drink. Boy, that was a great English time. And have not taken a drink yet. Oh yeah, babe. This whiskey is very nice. Again, I've made a lot of versions of a Manhattan at home, and typically I spin the whiskey. I use different things. I've used Irish whiskeys, bourbon whiskeys, done my version of it at home. My Manhattan by way of Dublin. When I use the Irish whiskey, by way of Kentucky, when I use the bourbon. Bourbon's interesting to make a drink like this because you've got that sweet vermouth. You've got that bold, depending on what bourbon you're using. You may have a big woody bourbon, very bold, a little bit sweeter than this. They're using that big rye. It's a very big rye. It has a lot of flavor. It's very spicy, and then combined with the bitters and that sweet vermouth, it just makes a perfect Manhattan. Yet to me, this is the ultimate winter cocktail. It's satisfying, it's comforting. It's not refreshing. It's not meant to be. I just picked up these cherries today, and then I've also added some little bit of this to it. I'm gonna make them my own as well. I added some spices and some other things. So as that ages, I'll do other things and other versions of a Manhattan. But I thought, well, I'll get my snowy background going and try to do somewhat of a classic version of a Manhattan. And I'm pretty close to it because I've got the rye. I've got the bitters. I've got the sweet vermouth. It's awful close. It's close enough for rock and roll anyway. When I've had these out, I've had them made different ways. I've had them garnished different ways. I typically like just go with the. I've even told them to hold the garnish because I don't necessarily need the fruit. But yeah, it's standard to see a cherry, typically a non-stem cherry. I just chuck this one in there with the stem. Um, I've had places serve it to me with an orange peel. I've had people actually serve it with an orange slice. I don't dig that at all. But again, whatever. I think what a lot of folks forget is, I mean, these recipes really shouldn't be etched in stone. Use your interpretation. Get the idea. This is the idea of the drink. This is the spirit of the drink. Now make it the way you want. Put your feel, put your flair on it. My wife's an amazing baker. And baking, you have to do a specific way. Baking, we're talking about formulas rather than recipes. But cooking and cocktails, wing it, man. Wing it, wing it, wing it, wing it, wing it. Put your own flair on it. Don't be afraid to try something different. Mm. I don't know if you could hear the song. There's a song playing in the background. It said Hallelujah, and I just about said Hallelujah at the same. They're not singing, but that's it's an instrumental. But that's where Hallelujah would have come up right about the time I was taking that drink. So, anyways, so anyways, I'm not gonna. It's gonna take me a good 30 minutes to drink this cocktail, and you don't need to hear me ramble for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna show you that drink one more time. Let me get you a good look at my good Crown Royal glass there. I use these bitters. I've never tried these bitters before. I just wanted to try something different rather than the typical Angostura bitters. I thought, well, let's give something else a shot. We're about half into my bottle, as you can see. I've drank most of it. Well, I guess other than this drink, I've kind of gone back and forth, having some neat on the rocks. It works beautiful either way. The Martini Sweet Vermouth, the Tillin Farms cherries. No, to be honest with you, I never bought these before either. But I mean, again, they weren't the most expensive cherries on the shelf. They weren't the cheapest. But I like that they didn't have, even the very expensive ones had a lot of dye, and I'd like to avoid that when possible. I'm going to take one last drink, and we'll call it a night here. Mm. Oh, good golly, that's what day like. This time to Beer Whisperer. Having a cocktail night tonight. I'm the cocktail whisperer, baby. I hope you're all having a Merry Christmas. Mine is getting better as we speak. Good night.